Hello YouTube, this is Undead93. I'm gonna be doing a deck profile of deck I did take to Springfest. I did pretty well. My team went all the way to round 4. It was Swiss double M. My deck went undefeated for the 4 rounds, so I did really well. So I'm gonna start off with the G zone. We have 1 Dizmel. Necessarily, I didn't really go into this much in the game, but it was a good thing to have. Because the main thing that I would protect, in my opinion, would be one of my Astro Reapers, Iron, or my Limit Break Enabler, because those are main things that I would mostly use to try to end the game. This, though, I use almost every game. This card is really, really, really good. Getting discard any card, most times I discarded most of the time like grade 3 or grade 2. Get 10k shield. It's wonderful. Made sure I made most time made sure I won the game. And Maxwell, which I have at 2. In my opinion, he's an okay card. Most of the time I just used him as mostly a way to get most of my big strides out. Because I saved Scryew for later, and then Dizmel was kind of really never used. Yeah, those are my G Guardians. In my opinion, depending on what the G Guardian is for set 8, Maxwell might leave. But he's an okay card. It also makes Amnesty plays a bit more interesting depending on what I'm able to lock. But Amnesty is a very situational card. Hopefully, I'm going to use that card once the entire time anyway. We got Madew, since my secondary boss monster is Legion. And she lets me... The main thing I like with her is if I have a Chaos Breaker in grave to get Chaos Breaker back to my hand. So that... And I don't have to rely on my drive checks to get it. So she's really good. We got our 1 Amnesty. I would like to increase this to 2, and then put an Eclipse, just so I could go into Eclipse and make my opponent's day even worse instead of giving my opponent's entire board back with just Amnesty. If I had to use Amnesty, so I run out of these my other strides really quickly, and now I can get rid of these regular on, because I would just go into you, swing, he'd basically be a regular on stride, which would still be really good in a regular game if my opponent decide to, if I want to keep the board. We got 2 Varon hitters. Right now, they're really just filler until I can get another Amnesty, because I already have a X-Lix. Actually, I have 2 X-Lix that I can use, but I'm mostly going to want to use 1. Yeah, they're decent. They still give pressure, but I only go into this if I'm on Zodiac and I have pretty much nothing else to go to, and I didn't D-yard the turn before. We have our 4 big crunches. Got 2 SPs though. It's really good. He, in my opinion, is the best like near finisher stride in the deck. He basically allows me to decrease the amount of attack my opponent can get exponentially, since he gets rid of an entire column. The only decks I can deal with getting rid of the entire column is Gold Paladin, Royal Paladin, and Link Joker. But other than that, he limits my opponent heavily, so he's really, really good. Then we got our 4 Chaos Universes. 1 SP Chaos Universe. And I him, if I'm on Chaos Breaker, he's the first stride no matter what. Because 1, he solves the main issue that Chaos Breaker has entirely. And since this deck is now 16 G zone, I can now run 4 instead of my previous of only running 2. So I used him as first stride to get the ball rolling. Basically, he allows me to limit my opponent's strategies, to screw up my opponent's field, because it's basically if I'm on Chaos Breaker and my opponent has already set up their board, I might as well just go on hitter and the next turn go into Big Crunch, or just stay on Chaos Breaker and block things away. And because he has a first stride, if my opponent, really good if my opponent does not play a board, because he allows me to just disrupt my opponent's plays before they decide to do anything. Then we have my starter, which is Carbon. In my opinion, he's a really good starter, because he basically allows me to just search my deck out for whatever I need. In my opinion, the main things he searches out is mostly the Limit Break Enabler or Zinc, which allows me to counter charge and solo charge, which is really good because it makes Chaos Breakers super free. Also, he's the best starter in basically all Star-vader decks, because he makes free advantage no matter what. Then my secondary starter. Secondary starter in quotation marks, which will be Dustdale. Main reason I would search him out from Carbon would be if I have a whole bunch of counterblasts, and I can just lock away something, since he would just give me free locking and a free thing in soul for Chaos Breaker. Then we have our trigger lineup, so let me close out. We run, and should have divided this before. So yeah, what I run at the moment and what works out the best for me at current time is, let's finish getting these out. Critical, heal trigger, crit, and a crit, which is 12 crit and 4 heal. Main reason that I do not run any of the other triggers is because, one, Chaos Breaker is already my draw engine, so it allows me to basically net as much advantage as I need to. And early game, these critical triggers allow me to basically push my opponent further into what I like to call into a corner, so that Chaos Breaker or Zodiac can just basically push for game. And this trigger is really good because, one, it just basically allows it to go back to the deck. So I'm about to run out of cards in deck, I'll send these back in. They're in my hand. Or if there are any in my grave, I'll have Zodiac send them back in, since I can continuously recycle them. And then my heal trigger, which is the best heal, Tellerium. Then we have our grade 1s. Let's start off with my PGs, which are the Star-vader ones. Main reason that I run this over the counter-charging one is, one, it's a Star-vader name, and two, the deck really doesn't have much counter-charging problems at the moment, due to Zodiac able, or my secondary boss monster, Dark Zodiac, able to replenishing anything I do need. And I mostly go through like 1 or 2 Zincs per game. So yeah, he provides pretty much what I need, and he also lets me protect rear guards if I need to. Then we run 4 of my Limit Break Enablers. The main reason I run 4 is because I don't want to rely entirely on Carbon to get this out, so I can build as much advantage. So I run as many as I can, so Chaos Breaker relies heavily on them. And also, in case my opponent does snipe Carbon off the board, if I'm facing against like Kagero or Narukami, I can regain the advantage by just playing multiple of these guys on the board. Other grade 1s, we have our Zincs. And the reason I'm mostly running 3 is, 1, it allows me to see her enough, and 2, the main reason I don't run her out of playset is I will see her too often, and almost like we'll see her when I'm on Zodiac, and people are like, why are you on Chaos Breaker? or Chaos Breaker. One, I would have to completely retool the deck of how I play. Because I mostly play the deck of basically stalling my opponent out either until time or until I can basically corner my opponent enough to secure victory. So that's the main reason that 3 Zincs. But in my opinion, if you're running a pure Chaos deck, you run this at 4 no matter what, because she basically allows you to continue your plays no matter throughout the entire game. And also in that deck you run Colony Maker, so you can basically get her out of the deck. And then my last grade 1s, which will be Destiny Dealers, which are a recent addition. The main thing that these used to be the deck were Palladiums. The main reason I put Destiny Dealer in is, one, it allows me to stride more often instead of relying on discarding grade 3s. Since the deck is more reliant on striding now, which is really, really good of having these guys in the deck. Because they allow me to just go off even more and not rely on having additional grade 3s. Then let's go with my grade 2s. I have my Irons, which are my 11k attacker on Chaos Breaker turns. And then also, my opponent has a locked card, and I'm on Chaos Vanguard. I kind of bust when I lock a card, so it's really good locking on my opponent's turn. I also like him for 1, he swings for big numbers, and 2, he allows me to control my opponent's board. Yeah, but if he didn't have the 11k, if he didn't have the 11k, I would run 4 Photon, mostly due to Photon basically having no cost. And then my other grade 2s, let's go with the 2 Photons in the deck, which I still run Photons because free lock is a free lock. And then we have our 4 Legion Mate, Astro, which he's a really good card in the deck with how I've retooled the deck, is because he allows me to deck thin. Because if I'm on Chaos Breaker, Zodiac, or any of the grade 2s when I do go into my grade 2 game, is he allows me to swing. If he does hit, I can Soul Blast, look at the top 5, see what those are, put them in the way I want. If there is a copy of anything that's on my Vanguard circle, add it to hand. Well, it's netting me advantage. And also Chaos Breaker is a deck about soul, so I am always usually having quite additional soul that I don't need to get rid of all my opponent's things. So he allows me to basically reconfigure my deck. And also, if I have like 5 cards left in my deck and he hits before my Vanguard swings, hey look, I can re-switch where everything is on my deck. Hey look, there's 3 criticals on the top of the deck, and I'm swinging with a stride unit. Hey look, Astro did his job. So yeah, I really like him because he allows me to basically top deck things whenever I want. We have our secondary boss or monster, which is Zodiac. I really like him because, 1, he allows me to keep my opponent's board locked longer than I need, or well, to get onto Chaos Breaker, and he also allows to lock away the board by just discarding a copy of himself or Astro. So that's really good. Also got 2 SPs, which are this one and that one. Which I really like this boss monster. In my opinion, I say out of all the Link Joker boss monsters, I say he's the 3rd best. Mostly due to his utility in basically every Link Joker deck that can exist. Because he basically can allow you to keep your opponent out of the game longer. He also allows you to throw things back into your deck, which is also a thing I like because he also prevents me from decking out. Then we have my main boss monster, which is Chaos Breaker. We got 3 regulars, and we got that nice secret rare, that nice Hope and Despair. Yeah, he's basically the bread and butter of the deck. Basically, he's my preferred ride in the whole deck. Basically, if I'm able to ride him as my starting grade 3, and it would also get off my first stride, my opponent loses a lot of advantage, and unless they have a way of swinging from the back row, or if they're Novas and I'm at 4 damage, they're going to have a really hard time, because he basically allows me to control what my opponent can do. And he also, with his skill, allows me to see what my opponent has blocked. And, well, not with his skill, just with how locking is in general, since he allows me to snipe a card out of my opponent's hand for 2 turns with Universe, and choose whether keeping that card on the field longer. It's like if there's a column, most of the time, if there's a column that is already established, most of the time I'll let it unlock and then I'll just big crunch it so it's out of the game for 2 more turns. So for me, it usually depends on placement of my opponent's board, depending on what units I will kill. But if I do need the hand advantage, if I'm going against like Novas or a deck that can swing multiple times with just their Vanguard, I will most likely off most of their board before they can try to get anything back. But the only changes I would make to this deck at the moment would get the on-hitters out for another Amnesty and an Eclipse. So I could go into Eclipse and make my board larger. Well, actually, I don't think he would make my he want to make my board larger, but he would control my opponent's board more. So he allows me to off their units. Yeah, that is my Chaos Breaker deck. This is basically the main deck I will keep running until either G-Regulation is ever a thing, or if Link Joker gets, like, they just give an unlocker to every clan, and then I'll just go on to my secondary deck, which is Raging Form, and just completely just swing, kill, swing, kill, swing, kill. Okay, you're dead. Cool. Yeah, that's my second favorite deck to run, which is my third because I like Vowing, but Vowing really can't do anything at the moment until he gets. I hope one day he gets a really good stride. But yeah, that is my Chaos Breaker deck. Right, in my opinion, Chaos Breaker is still the best boss monster in Link Joker. He'll continue, since the difference between him and Alter Ego, he just gains advantage off of your opponent's stuff unlocking, but he allows you to basically control your opponent's board entirely, since with Universe, he allows you to control what's on your opponent's board and in their hand, and also he allows you to basically off monsters at his own will as long as you're at limit break, which in my opinion is also an easier task to do on Ride than at Alter Ego's GP2. It's the kind of reason I don't like Alter Ego that much, because he relies too heavily on his GB2 being active. That's why most of them try to go into Flizza, flip something, or mostly flip Amnesty, or flip some form of unit, and so they have an instant GB2. So that's kind of the reason I don't like that, is because they rely too heavily on that. But yeah, Chaos Breaker, I just need to mostly control my damage, which is a very easy thing to do with Link Joker. The only thing I would want for Link Joker in the future, from looking at all the things that all the things that are in the game at the moment, would be, and this would mostly go on to G Guardians, because I think the Stride deck for Chaos is basically near unchangeable at the moment. unless they make things that basically creep things out of the game. Because, my opinion, in a Chaos deck, you run no matter what 4 Universe, 4 Big Crunch, because they are the best strides the Link Joker has at the moment. In my opinion, always run Amnesty for your mirror match. In my opinion, running another Amnesty and Eclipse is mostly for my Flare. Madew for me, because I'm running Legion. Right now, Screw, because you can build the hand advantage, and Dizmel right now, because you can player tech things you want. And right now, Maxwell's are the main things that are iffy. The main things I would want for other G Guardians, from looking at Kagero, since they have that Denial Griffin, the main thing I would kind of want would be something like that, but locking. The only bad thing is, on Butchero's part, if they were to make that, is Chaos Breaker would go super plus, because it would allow him to control the board even better, because you're facing Novas or Grand Blue or Aquaforce, and they attack, drop this G Guardian, lock it, end turn, unlock. Yeah, I'm gonna have Chaos Breaker kill it, get this unit out of my soul. I'm gonna draw a card. It would be such a dirty play to do, but I have a feeling that eventually that is going to be a card. And if so, Chaos Breaker is going to wreck this game hard. But yeah, other than that, that is basically my opinions on Chaos Breaker. Also, I have the other 4 secret rares from this set, which are the Susanowo, Penamago Magus, Ethics Buster, or Gauntlet Buster, and Alice. But yeah, that is basically my opinion on Chaos Breaker. As long as he keeps getting support, what I kind of hope with set 8 is that they throw at least some type of support his way. Because even with set 3, with the only really support that Chaos Breaker got was Tenactome, which really wasn't his support, it was more of something to just help you countercharge. And then you had Big Crunch, who basically made it so your opponent really was in a hard time in that early times of stride. But yeah, other than that, I'm really liking how Link Joker is still doing really well. The only decks really that, in my opinion, that Link Joker has a problem with is Harry, because Harry throws everything on their board back to their soul, so there isn't really anything to lock. I would say Grand Blue, but if they do leave units on the board and they don't hollow them, it allows me to net free advantage by locking away their board, not allowing to put more units from onto the board. Other than that would be Novas, mostly due to if they're able to get me to 4 damage and they drop a Victoplasma. The only thing is I have to pray that they don't get a crit on the first attack, because I can block the second attack most of the time. It's just that first attack that I cannot stop. But other than that, all the other decks at the game really aren't as threatening to me, in my opinion. Are Angels, but with how Angels are kind of redirecting themselves at the moment towards the rescue mechanic, they deck out really fast, and most of them aren't running Procure, so I'm able to basically lock them out of the game. And if they do run Procure, they have to basically retool their G zone, which I really like, because then it limits their options, and it allows me to basically play mind games with them now. Then there's also Link Joker Royal Paladin, and also Link Joker Mirror Matches. I've had a Link Joker Mirror Match at Springfest, which was a very interesting game. It was probably, in my opinion, the best game I had at Springfest, because the game kept going back and forth. The game would have gone on longer if my opponent didn't misplay Eclipse. Because my opponent didn't have a face-up amnesty, so like an Eclipse, their board stayed locked, and then I just decided to win. I think the next turn. But if they went, in my opinion, if they went to just regular amnesty swung, and they unlocked their board and swung, I would have had enough to guard, but it would have left me with less hand advantage instead of just dropping the perfect guard on Eclipse. And then basically just winning the next turn. But yeah, that's the main thing you do have to worry about with Link Joker in your mirror match, is that you have to basically gauge if your opponent has 1 or 2 amnesties slash Eclipse, and basically you just have to keep control of. It's also the same thing I kind of do with if I face against Alfred or Ezel, and since with Alfred, since the only thing they have unlocking wise is Holy Squire, is to just basically either lock their 2 front row or lock triangle wise, because if so, they have to waste a Holy Squire to unlock their board so they can swing for more numbers. For Ezel, it's a tad bit more hard, since he's basically the secondary grade 3 in basically every Gold Paladin deck at the moment, because Link Joker is a big damper on them because they like to call a bunch of units. Basically, for him, I just have to make sure to lock 2 front row. The back row really doesn't matter, in my opinion, as much, as long as they have to waste a unit, waste either a Mithril Ezel or regular Ezel to unlock their board. That helps out a lot because they have to at least waste some advantage in sense to try to get around that. But yeah, that's my main concerns with Link Joker, or with Chaos Breaker. In my opinion, as things go on, as long as either the generic support is still really good, we get some type of locking Denial Griffin, or they make Chaos Breaker support that's even better, that isn't Chaos Bringer, because I really don't like that card, because you have to basically retool your deck to rush your opponent down quickly, which I think is not really the way that Chaos Breaker is built. As a monster, he's basically built to basically nearly stall the game until you're able to push your opponent to the basically the edge. That's why I like him, because he fits into my playstyle of keeping my opponent's board locked away, or well controlled enough. That's why I built all my decks of somewhat control. Yeah, in my opinion, as long as the support keeps rolling in for him, or just generic Link Joker that isn't like Messiah specific or Deleter specific or Glendio specific, you know, he's kind of bit the dust against Link Joker mirror matches because amnesty is a thing. Yeah, in my opinion, he'll still remain basically the main driving force of Link Joker until they make something that's outclasses him in every way. But yeah, that is all. Thank you all very much, and have a wonderful day.